Hi, my name is Ellen Crocker with Forestry and Natural Resources Extension at the University of Kentucky. Spring is a great time to get out in your backyard or your woods to look for wildflowers, but it's also a great time to look for those less wanted plants, the invasive plant species. So I'm standing here right now with one of the most common spring invasive plants that we see. This is bush honeysuckle. It's one of the first things to leaf out in the spring. Before anything else has its leaves, you'll see lots of green, and that's this plant, bush honeysuckle. And it just takes over understories of our forests along roadsides and other areas. Now, it is planted as an ornamental plant. It does have those nice white flowers that you might remember, or the little red berries, but it doesn't stay put. Birds eat those berries and will carry them everywhere. Another invasive plant that really stands out this time of year is Cattleya or Bradford pear. It's one of the first things to bloom in the spring. Really prolific white flowers everywhere. It's beautiful, and I think that's the reason why it was so popularly planted in people's yards and along streets. But it's a kind of a bad tree for those settings because it falls apart really fast. And in addition, it'll move out from there, take over old field areas, roadsides, dominating in dense thickets of these kind of small trees. And they also have really thick thorns that can really get you if you're trying to walk through areas that have a lot of it or trying to cut it out of your woodlands. Now, an invasive plant you might not be as familiar with that pops up in the spring is this one right here, Leicester celandine or fig buttercup. It really stands out because it's got these beautiful yellow glossy flowers. It's a buttercup, so kind of like other plants in that family, but it kind of pops up and then it disappears for the rest of the year. So if you want to find it and manage it, now is the time. The reason this is a problem is that it will just take over your forest areas, especially those right along the river. This plant has little bulbs under the ground that make it really tough to pull up. Also makes it really easy to move downstream if it's growing alongside a river. Just dislodge some of that soil, maybe a little erosion, and those bulbs float right downstream. There are lots of other invasive plants out there, and so if you want to learn to identify them, this is a great resource. It takes you through different types of plants, and you can just click on the trees or shrubs or vines and get lots of great photos as well as information on the different features. There's some other guides for some of those newer invasive species and making sure you don't mistake them with others. On management, there's a lot of great options out there. This is one guide in particular I really recommend. If you go to their website, what you'll find is a really comprehensive list of different types of management approaches and how to do them, as well as specifically by different plant species, what you should do to manage them. And all of this is really based in nice scientific information. Another great resource is the Native Alternatives brochure from the Kentucky Invasive Plant Council. It goes through a lot of our most common invasive plant species, and then what are some great native alternatives that you could plant instead. Finally, here's our website. You can click on a different plant, find resources on what it is and how to control it. There's no shortage of invasive plants here in Kentucky, whether it's those that we just talked about or the winter creeper that's surrounding me here. But there are also great resources to help you get started on some management. Visit our website or check out the resources after this to learn more, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for listening and joining me today.